When you think of some of the best American players in the NBA, players like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Jayson Tatum come to mind. And although they may be some of the best players on the planet, none of them were even the best ranked player in the class when they were in high school. Kevin Durant was ranked 2nd, Jayson Tatum was ranked 3rd, and Stephen Curry was ranked 300th? Want to know which mystery players were ranked ahead of them? Well, welcome to B-Ball Threads, and this is every number 1 ranked recruit in the last 20 years. 20 years ago, the year was 2003. 50 Cent just released his debut album Get Rich or Die Trying, movies like Finding Nemo and Too Fast, Too Furious were in theaters, and his senior LeBron James was the number 1 recruit in the nation. And unless you lived under a rock, you knew who he was. LeBron was slowly becoming the biggest celebrity in basketball, being compared to Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. In the next 20 years, the world will become witness to one of the greatest players of all time, if not the greatest. The class of 2004 was stacked, with prospects like Kyle Lowry at 28, LaMarcus Aldridge at 16, and Rudy Gay at 5. But there was one prospect that was better than all of them, and that would be no other than all-time center Dwight Howard. Dwight is one of the best high school players ever, averaging crazy stats of 25 points, 18 rebounds, 4 assists, and 8 blocks in his senior year, leading his team to a 31-2 record in the state title. Dwight would go on to become an 8-time All-Star, make 8 All-NBA teams, and win 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Now he dominates in Taiwan, playing for the Taoyuan Leopards, averaging 26 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists in 15 games. I bet you don't know who the number 1 recruit in 2005 was, because in a class with players like Gerald Green, Monte Ellis, and Lou Williams, the number 1 ranked player was Josh McRoberts. In his senior year, he averaged 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. Josh committed to Duke and after 2 seasons was drafted by the Trailblazers in the 2007 NBA draft with the 37th pick. Although never living up to his number 1 ranking in high school, Josh had a respectable NBA career playing for 7 different teams until 2018. You most likely remember him as a member of the post-LeBron James Miami Heat teams. Now he is an assistant coach for his old high school's varsity team. Many fans may think that Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, would be the best recruit in 2006, but he was actually 2nd. The first spot would belong to future NBA buzz Greg Oden. Oden was a beast in high school, averaging 22 points and 11 rebounds, winning Gatorade National Player of the Year. At Ohio State alongside Mike Conley, Oden averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks, leading him to be drafted first in the 2007 NBA draft above Kevin Durant. Unfortunately for Oden, he never got to showcase his talent in the NBA as he was constantly battling leg and knee injuries during his career. Oden had 7 knee surgeries and last played for the Miami Heat in the 13-14 season, barely seeing minutes. In 2007, Kevin Love was the number 1 ranked recruit in a class that featured Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, and James Harden. In his senior year for Lake Oswego High School, Love averaged 34 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 assists per game on his way to winning Gatorade National Player of the Year. Love played college ball for UCLA with future MVP Russell Westbrook. At UCLA, Love averaged 17 points and 10 rebounds, leading him to be drafted 5th by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Love would go on to have a great career with career averages of 17 points and 10 rebounds. This past season, he averaged 8 points as a role player for the Miami Heat. In 2008, point guard Brandon Jennings was the number 1 ranked recruit, ahead of players like Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan, and Drew Holiday. In his senior year for Oak Hill Academy, Jennings averaged 35 points and set the school record for points in a season. Jennings decided to skip college and played a season professionally before being drafted 10th by the Bucks. Jennings played in the NBA from 2010 to 2018. In his first 5 seasons with Milwaukee and Detroit, Jennings was an inefficient point guard, averaging around 15 points and 6 assists. After rupturing his Achilles, Jennings was never the same player and only averaged 5 points in his last season. 2009 saw Avery Bradley as the top recruit above players like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Kawhi Leonard. As a Texas Longhorn, Bradley averaged 12 points per game and became one of the best defensive guards in college. He was drafted with the 19th pick by the Celtics, and in his 11-year career, he has become known as a premier perimeter defender, making the All-Defensive team twice. Bradley last played for the Lakers in the 21-22 season, averaging 6 points per game. In 2010, Harrison Barnes was the number 1 recruit above players like Kyrie Irving and Tobias Harris. Barnes played in high school alongside Doug McDermott, where he averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals in his senior season. Barnes played college ball for UNC and averaged 16 points and 5 rebounds, leading him to be drafted 7th by the Warriors. So far in his 10-year career, Barnes has averaged 14 points and 5 rebounds. Last season for Sacramento, Barnes averaged 15 points and 5 rebounds. In 2011, Anthony Davis was the top recruit in his class, a rare instance where the number 1 player would actually become the best player in his class later in their careers. At Kentucky, Davis would become one of the most legendary college players of all time, averaging 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 blocks per game, leading the Wildcats to their 8th national championship. And the NBA, as most know, Davis would go on to become one of the best big men in the game, become an 8-time All-Star, making 4 All-NBA and defensive teams, and winning a ring with LeBron and the Lakers in 2020. The class of 2012 was not as loaded with talent like previous classes, but still saw talent like Marcus Smart and Jeremy Grant. However, it was Nerlens Noel who was the top recruit in 2012. In his senior year, Noel averaged 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game. Noel tore his ACL at Kentucky, but was still drafted with the 6th pick. His potential was destroyed by injuries, and he's become a role player in his 9-year career with averages of 7 points, 6 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks. In 2013, Andrew Wiggins was the top recruit in a class that featured Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, and Zach LaVine. Although never becoming the superstar people expected him to be, he has had an underrated career that people don't give him credit for. Wiggins helped the Warriors win the 2022 championship and is arguably their second best player at times behind Stephen Curry. In his 8-year career, Wiggins has averaged 19 points and 5 rebounds per game. He even became an All-Star starter in 2022, although how he did it was not really warranted by his incredible play, but rather getting support from a famous K-pop star. In 2014, Jahlil Okafor was the top recruit above Cat and Devin Booker. After a decorated high school career, Okafor played college ball at Duke. After averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds for the Blue Devils, Okafor was drafted 3rd by the 76ers. Although being a top 3 pick in the 2015 draft, his playstyle was seen as outdated and did not match what teams were looking for in bigs. In 5 seasons, Okafor averaged 10 points per game and he now plays in the G League. In a class that featured talent like Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown, Ben Simmons was the #1 recruit in the class of 2015. Ben gained a lot of hype during his time at Montverde Academy, being often compared to LeBron James. After dominating high school, Ben suited up for LSU and dominated college competition as well, averaging 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. Everyone knows the rest. What looked like a promising career spiraled into one of the biggest dramas in the past few seasons. Once a perennial all-star and triple-double threat, Ben now looks like a shell of his former self on the Brooklyn Nets, averaging career lows in all major categories. Not only is 2016 universally known as one of the best years in human history, the class of 2016 was also one of the best ever, with players like Jayson Tatum, Bam Adebayo, Lonzo Ball, and De'Aaron Fox all in the top 10. However, it was actually Harry Giles that topped all of them to become the top recruit in 2016. Once considered the future #1 pick, he unfortunately suffered 2 ACL tears before stepping onto the court for Duke. When he got to play, he only averaged 4 points per game and slid down to the 20th pick by the Kings. He last played for the Clippers G League team in 2022, but was cut after yet another season-ending injury. Recently, he held private workouts for NBA teams in Las Vegas. In 2017, Marvin Bagley was the top recruit in a class that featured Trae Young and SGA. Originally in the class of 2018, Bagley averaged 25 points and 10 rebounds in his junior season at Sierra Canyon before reclassifying into the class of 2017. In his only season at Duke, Bagley averaged 21 points and 11 rebounds, which led him to be infamously drafted 2nd by the Kings, 1 spot ahead of Luka Doncic. Although never living up to the star potential that got him drafted, Bagley has had a respectable NBA career, averaging 13 points and 7 rebounds in his first 5 seasons. In 2018, RJ Barrett was the top recruit, just above fellow Duke commits Zion Williamson and Cam Reddish, creating one of the most memorable college teams in recent memory. Barrett was great, averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. After being drafted 3rd by the Knicks, Barrett has been slowly getting better throughout his young career. This past season with the Knicks, Barrett averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game on nearly 50% shooting. Although Barrett seems like he puts up good numbers, Knicks fans continuously trash him for his play, but maybe that's just New York for you. In 2019, James Wiseman was the top recruit above players like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, and Tyrese Maxey. Wiseman dominated the competition at East Memphis High School, averaging 26 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 blocks per game, which led him to win the Gatorade National Player of the Year. Originally planning to suit up for Memphis, Wiseman found himself in hot water and ended up only playing 3 total games for the Tigers. Wiseman was drafted to the Warriors but did not fit their style of play at all. After 2 bad seasons, Wiseman got traded to the Pistons, where he has looked a lot better, averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds for them in 24 games. In 2020, Jalen Green was the top recruit above players like Scottie Barnes and Cade Cunningham. Jalen was one of the most viral players, consistently going viral on social media for his explosive dunks. Instead of going to college, Jalen made a historic decision to instead play for the G League Ignite for a season before entering the draft. In his first 2 seasons, Jalen has averaged 20 points per game for the Rockets and is looking to elevate his game even more this coming season. Recently, videos leaked showing Jalen doing suspicious acts to his friend and former teammate Josh Christopher. Unless you live in Iraq, you know what I'm talking about.
This is Jalen Green when he was younger, I'm guessing, or...
In 2021, Chet Holmgren was the top recruit. In Chet's senior season at Minnehaha Academy, he averaged 21 points and 12 rebounds, leading his team to his 4th state championship. He looked equally as dominant in college, averaging 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Drafted by the Thunder, Chet was hurt for his rookie year, but many expect great things from him this season. In 2022, Dereck Lively was the top prospect, and after 1 season at Duke, he was picked 12th in this year's draft by the Mavericks. Although not putting up crazy offensive numbers at Duke, the Mavericks picked Lively because of his shot blocking capabilities, which is something Dallas lacked last season. In 2023, the top-ranked recruit was Isaiah Collier. He will team up with Bronny at USC this season to create one of the scariest backcourts in college basketball. While still waiting to see when or if Bronny will return this season after his cardiac arrest, Isaiah has already been putting on a show for USC, dropping 20 points in the first game of their European tour. Being the top-ranked recruit in high school does not always guarantee success in the NBA. While some NBA players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis went on to have legendary careers, others like Greg Oden and Jahlil Okafor never reached their potential. It will be exciting to see what the future holds for the current and upcoming top recruits like Cooper Flagg and Bryce James in years to come. Which player was the biggest surprise in this video? Let us know in the comments. Although Damian Lillard is most likely out of Portland sooner or later, Scoot Henderson is prepared to become the next superstar point guard in Rip City. Want to hear about his rise to the NBA? Click this video right here. If you like videos like this, consider subscribing to our channel and don't forget to follow our Instagram and TikTok for more content. Thank you.
Stolen by Brandon Weems. He's the truth. In transition, finally an opportunity to show the elevation, the windmill, the creativity, the extension.